Express, and welcome to 19.1 launch week and our final webinar, What's New in CodeRush, presented by Chief Scientist of the IDE team, Mark Miller. In this session, Mark will highlight recently developed CodeRush features to help you write code, refactor, debug, and work more cohesively as a team. This session is being recorded and it will be made available on our DevExpress YouTube channel later today. We will also send the link to the recording in a follow-up email. We will also do a Q&A at the end of this presentation. Just type your questions in the GoToWebinar control panel at any time throughout the broadcast. All right, thank you so much for joining us. I will now hand things over to Mark.
Hey, Amanda, thanks so much. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, we're going to do two things. We're going to talk about what's new in 19.1 of CodeRush, and I'm also going to talk about CodeRush Server, which is a new product we have released as of yesterday, which you might find interesting. Let's jump right into the what's new, and then we'll move over to CodeRush Server after we're done. Summary of changes since our last 18.2 update have impacted the areas of productivity, navigation, code visualization, code quality, with specific specific kind of catch-up features or features specifically to JavaScript, TypeScript, as well as XAML. So we target some of those languages with specific features that the other languages already had. So we'll take a look at those, what's coming up. So in the area of JavaScript and TypeScript, we have declare local, which will declare a local variable for you. As you can see in this animated GIF right here, you just put the caret on a variable that's not declared, and you can declare it as a local variable. We also added smart semicolon, so you can press the semicolon inside a parens, and it'll add a semicolon for you at the end of the line automatically. So that's kind of a catch-up. These are catch-up features here in JavaScript and TypeScript that we've added. In the area of navigating complex code, we've got jump to declaration in ASP.NET MVC. We have CodePlaces. I'll show you a live demo of that in a second. In fact, I'm going to do it right now, is what we'll do. Let's go over to this solution right here. CodePlaces, if you have it enabled, is going to show up to the left or possibly to the right of the editor. I have it so that it collapses itself. That's one of the options that I've set it to. And now it's telling me here are all the places in the code for this particular file that I have active right here. And so you can see here I've got a class called creature. Down below I've got a few other classes that I added to already. I've got a super creature, I've got this other class, a third class, fourth unused class. I'll talk to you about those in a little bit when I show another CodeRush feature. I've got a history within this class that shows what I've been working on here. So I can go jump out to the pieces that I've been making changes to recently. And I also have a global history as well. So I can go out and take a look at places where I've made changes to out there. This supports VB and C#. We don't support TypeScript yet in CodePlaces, but it's something we expect to do soon. The options for this, I'll just click here to get to it quickly, but you can get to it in navigation CodePlaces. Here's how you enable it, turn it on or not. There's my auto hide option. If I disable that, it's just going to always be available. And then I can choose where I want to put it, what the font size is, and whether I need to single click or double click to navigate to a member. So that's what we've got. That's CodePlaces right there. We also have jump to XAML element, which is super cool. And it works not only in a XAML file, but it'll also work in the code behind. So I think I can get you a quick demo of that. Let's go over to my main app right here. There I'm in, here I am here. Let's go to the view code. So we'll get over in the cute code behind right over here. I'm going to hit the navigation key and I'm going to come in here and choose the XAML element like that. And now every XAML element that's in this XAML window is available to me, and I can just look for the one I'm interested in by typing in a filter item here, and then that's what I want, the button sneak attack. I hit that, and then now there it is. It's taken me right out there to it. So there it is. Hit selection increase a couple times. I've got it. I can click it, copy it to the clipboard. Pretty cool. David Grove's asking, is CodePlaces going to be available in F#? I'm not sure yet. I can't really comment on that right now. However, if you want it, you can ask for that. You can put an issue, submit an issue out to our community center, and and we will respond to those, especially if that issue's got a number of people who are watching that issue. So that's a way to do that, to get that there, if that's important to you. And there are other ways as well. My email address is at the top of the chat window, markm@devexpress.com. Send me an email, make a case for it, and we might be able to add that in the future. Okay, so, all right, let's jump to XAML element. We have the string format assistant, which is new. The unit test builder, which is new. Sync namespace with folder structure, which is new. These are all new pieces here. Also, I think the update notification window is a new feature that we added I think after 18.2 shipped. So shortly after, we added this feature, which shows up in the bottom right after an update has occurred at the bottom right of Visual Studio. There'll be a piece right here that you can click on, and when you click on that, you'll see CodeRush has been updated, and there's the version number, and you can see what's new in this particular piece right here. And if I click this is going to take me out to the official DevExpress What's New in CodeRush page, and I can read this, and I can also read through previous features that have come in here. So that's new as well. And I think I've got some demos here. I've got String Format Assistant here coming up. Let's do that. Let's grab some code here. I want to make sure I'm not running. I'm just going to make some code here real quickly here. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to come in and type ND8 to create a new date time. Copy that to the clipboard. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say, let's create a new string right here, and we'll say time stir like that, and we'll say that's equal to, and then we'll come in here and let's create an interpolated string, and inside that let's put our date time. Now right here I'm going to type the colon. When I type the colon, that's when you're going to see this new UI come up here for the string format assistant. So now I can come here and say, well, I just want the time string, so maybe I just want something simple like this. And so I can just take that T right there. If I come back and I delete that, it's going to pop right up there for me automatically, and I can choose from different formats in there. So kind of cool to help me out. If, let's say, for example, I didn't have a date time on the clipboard, but let's say I had, let's say I created a new double, and we'll call this min or something like that, whatever that is. And I come down in here, paste that in there, put the colon in there, and now I can come in here and say, well, is it currency? Easy. I can just grab this. I can keep working down here, and I can choose something to the effect of, okay, well, maybe it's a float, and I need to specify how many decimal places. So I can take this and maybe change it to a 4 along those lines, and then that will give me that that value formatted to 4 decimal places. So kind of a neat feature there, the string format assistant. Latex formulas and comments. So you may have actually seen that when I was over here, right here. Let's jump up here to the top and we can take a look at this. Now, we've already shown in 18.2, we released a super cool feature called image embedding, which allows me to embed an image inside of source code, and CodeRush essentially takes care of all the heavy lifting to make that work, right? So we can select it, we can resize it, we can right-click it, we can crop the image, that sort of thing. We can modify it however we want to. I've got actually two images side by side on the same comment line here, including some text here. So it says Einstein, there we go, get energy. So kind of that's something we've already seen. But what's new here is the ability to add a formula. So for example, his famous formula, E equals MC squared. Let's go ahead and do that. So to do that, I'm going to do a /F, and then I'm going to say M, then I'm going to say C, and then I'm going to do the square symbol right there. And let's say E equals like that. So we'll say E equals MC squared like that. And that's our formula. Now that might be a little bigger than I want it to be. That's okay. I can change the size of that. Just put it like the number 2 here, followed by a semicolon, and that'll drop the size down for me. I can also put a backtick right here after the start of the comment delimiters there. And that's what that's going to do, is that's going to erase the comment delimiters, make them hidden. They're still there, so the code, knows that that's a formula. That's all the formula is there. It's just using LaTeX to essentially code it. But now CodeRush is showing you is going to display it as a fully formatted formula. So that's that. I've got some more formulas down here in the code. I've got this quadratic equation. I'll do the quadratic equation here from scratch here so you can again see how fast and easy this is to do it. /F like this is going to give me a formula. Inside VB, I will do a quote because I single line comment with a quote symbol followed by the letter F. And then now that I'm in here, quadratic equation, it's a fraction essentially. There's a number on top and a number on the bottom. So I'll do a /F for fraction. And now I've got my numerator, my denominator. I can just tab back and forth. My denominator is 2a, like that. I just hit enter. I come back over to the numerator. Here I want a square root. So I'm going to type in /SQ and the space bar. That's going to give me square root right there. And what these templates are doing is they're saving me from having to type in these braces here. And I'll show you the templates and the list of templates that are out there. They're on the What's New pages as well. The square root is simple. It's just going to be 4AC, like that. And now that we've got that, there's my equation right there. Whoops, I've forgotten the negative b and the plus or minus. That goes in right in here. So that's negative b plus or minus, and maybe we'll just throw a big x equals at the very end of that whole thing. And that's it. We've edited, and now we can see that quadratic equation. Let's take away let's hide those comment delimiters at the front there. And now we can see that quadratic equation in the code, which is easier to recognize, at least for me, than all of this, which is essentially the code version of that quadratic equation. Okay, kind of cool. All right, you can do vectors, you can do sets, you can do trig, you can do geometry, you can do physics. These are all LaTeX formulas that are here in the code, all the way through, all the way down. It's a pretty cool feature if you've got math in your code. You can also change formula color. You can do this simply by just specifying what you want your foreground and background colors to be. And so this will give you a red formula with a white background. And here, if I select it, I think I can get it selected here. Let's see if I can without it. Yeah, it wants to. I think I got close to it when I was here. Yeah. Well, there's a white background behind there. If we had a different color background, you'd see that it was white. So that's the formulas. When will these features be available in CodeRush for Roslyn? These are features in CodeRush for Roslyn. Walter's asking, will this play at 50% speed when it's on YouTube? I'm sorry, Walter. Totally my bad on that. I'm going to try and I'll try and slow it down a little bit. Although I wanted to make sure that I got everything covered and we're out in good timing on this. Does the string format assistant also help with padding left or right as well? Stephen, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to get back to you on that. I think the answer is it does not. But I'm not 100% sure of that. So we'll have to get an answer back to you for that one. Can I change the size of the formula, says Rocco? And the answer is yes, you can. So this number right here is essentially a scaling number right here. If I want to go really big, like ridiculously big, let's see what happens with ridiculously big here when that change it to 22. Is that really, it's got a limit there? It doesn't make sense. Let's see what's happening here. Change it back to 2. Oh, I think I know what this is. Hold on a second. Let me go away from this for a second. It's an issue there. We'll come over here and we'll do it. Change the number to, like, say 7, and there it is right there. And so yeah, here, let's go ridiculously big. There it is right there. So yeah, you can change the font size of it. This right here, there's an issue when you change the color that the size isn't working, and this could be my fault. I wonder if I need to do this right here. Is that my fault? Nope, that's not my fault. All right, so the changing size looks like there's an issue there we need to address. This feature, good time to say that this feature is in beta right now, and it has only a partial support for everything that's in LaTeX. So you've got a lot of, you can do a lot of stuff in here with what we've got, a lot of traditional math. But there are some aspects of LaTeX that we don't support yet. That's why we're calling it a beta. And so that's formulas. Kind of cool. And let's see. Let's go back to my slides. All right. So kind of cool. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you this, but you have to enable it in the rich comments section. So in order to do this, you want to go into CodeRush options, come up here and you can search for rich. And there it is, rich comments. Yeah, right there. Quick setup, it also shows it where you can just enable here, but basically on rich comments, you can, either one of those two pages, you can click that button to enable, and then, but you're also going to need to enable this checkbox right here to enable latex formula support. Okay. All right, what about VS Code? I've got a commercial break in the middle of this webinar to talk about CodeRush for VS Code. Kids, we want to build it. We want to bring CodeRush features over to VS Code. However, we are at a point where there's a block. There's not enough in Visual Studio Code for us to take some very important features over. But the good news is that you can help us with the block. Let me click on this right here, and we'll bring this up inside of a browser. And this is the blocking issue right here. Let me copy this to the clipboard. I'm going to put this in the chat window, and along with a please vote right here. This basically the Visual Studio team is aware, or the Visual Studio Code team is aware of this issue, but they're basically telling us we need more votes. We've got 65 votes right now. If we can break this, get this over 100 votes, we show up in the top 2 pages of issues for Visual Studio. If we can get it to like 135, we're on the top #1 page. And, you know, I'm going to do my usual part where I hassle them on a regular basis, right? So I go away if they implement this. That's the reward. If you kids out there who are in the chat room right now can click on that link and get out there, put a vote out there for us, that can get us much closer to being out there in VS Code. That link explains all of the features that are impacted by this, and they include our debug visualizer. So come on, Visual Studio Code team, let's get this change here so we can get CodeRush over there. Okay, sync namespace with folder structure. Let's go do that. Let's come back over here. Let's go ahead and we'll say okay there. So I've got some folder structures here, but everything has got a flat namespace. It's D&D core right here. This, by the way, is some of the source code that we've built live out on twitch.tv. If you go to twitch.tv/CodeRush, I'll put that in the chat room right now as well. Twitch.tv/CodeRush. You can see my channel where, and you can follow that not only for chances to win free copies of CodeRush, but also to watch us live dog food CodeRush 3 times a week, a couple hours every day. We are live dog fooding in front of everybody, latest versions of Visual Studio, latest versions of CodeRush as well. So one of the projects we're working on there is a project for Dungeons and Dragons. We're working on the combat engine for that. But in this particular source code section, I've got a lot of these folders right here, so I've got to open up dice roll. Dice roll's in the namespace D&D core, not in something related to core classes. Effects is in here in D&D core as well. So what I can do is I can come up here on my D&D core. By the way, let's bring up source tree for a second. It says, hey, nothing to commit on this particular project and folder. So let's come over here now, and I'm going to just right click and choose sync namespace with folder structure, like that. And it's going to do that. It's going to sync that out. Oh, you know what? My bad. Thanks for that on the link right there. Looks like I was sending only to the organizers, and they just figured it out, and the webinar organizers just figured it out and solved the problem for me. Okay, so now that we've done that, notice our effect is now in D&D core.effects, right? We're right there. If we go back to dice roll is now in D&D core.core classes. So even though there was a space there, CodeRush said, well, we'll figure that out. And if we come over here to source tree, we can see all the changes that are made all the way through, like this, okay? And so you can see what's going on across the board, including, interestingly, it removed D&D core because they're not needed anymore and only using D&D core.enums. So really smart implementation of this feature. I'm going to take all of these. I'm just going to stage them, and I'm going to commit them just for now. Yeah, okay, let's give them a, let's say synced namespaces. I wasn't prepared to type this in. Namespaces to folder. There we go. Not bad. Let's commit it. All right. So now we're back to nothing to commit here. Okay, the reason I want to do that is because I want to come back in. I'm going to make some more changes. I want you to be able to easily see those changes. So that's sync namespace with folder structure. By the way, I should come in here and run all the test cases here just to prove that we are good to go on this. So let's do this. All right, testing. And there we go. All right, so everything is passing. Good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We also have some issues for some code issues and also some fixes that can result in higher quality code. One of those is an issue that looks for unused types and parameters at that code issue. And then we also have a refactoring for being able to name anonymous types. For the unused types and parameters, we can do a demo of that. Let's go back over here into my solution. And I think I'm over in, where was I? In creature, I think. Am I right in that? No. Oh, yeah, this is it. Okay. So at the bottom of creature, I've added some new classes right here. I've got a class called super creature right here. And I can just tab through that, and I'm like, okay. So super creature is here. This is the entirety of this class, and it's instantiated here in this function called getIt, which is in other class. An other class is referenced by third class right over here. Third class is public. Okay. So if I come in here, let's go in and do two things. We're going to go into options, and we're going to go into let's look up cleanup here. Code cleanup for C#. All right, and I'm going to come down here, then remove unused types. I'm going to check this. So now if we have a type that's not used, it will remove it. Let's click OK on that, and let's just run it and see if anything happens. I think what you're going to see is this fourth unused class going to go away, but these others are not, and I'll explain why in a second. So I'm going to right-click over here in my D&D core project, and I'm going to choose Cleanup Project, like that. It's going to run through that. Whoops. Let's go back over here. Okay, and there, the fourth one is gone. If we come over into source tree, you can see we deleted the fourth unused class. But why didn't we get rid of this third class? Because it's only got these references here. The reason why is because it's public. And because if it's public, we can potentially use it from another location. If I change it to internal like this and I save, and we come in here again and we do this. Let's see what happens. Clean up project. Okay, and all of that now goes away. All right. If we look at that, we can now see the differences that are in there. Let me undo that. I'm going to undo that change. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to choose discard. So we go back to where we were for a second. And I'll show you one other change that we can make in here. So we come back down in here. This time what I'm going to do in my third class here where I instantiate the other class, right? So I create the other class. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to comment these two lines out. I'm just going to comment out that initialization right there. Okay. So now third class doesn't reference that anymore. Third class is public. Fourth class is internal. We should see fourth class go away, and we should see, let's see here, other class. We should see other class and super creature going away. Super creature didn't go away because other class didn't, but we should see both of those go away. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll apply, clean up project. I'm going to get a sip of water here. All right, so we saw the fourth one go away, and I think we saw the other go away, and all we're left with is third class. Kind of cool. Come over here, we can see that again, and we can see the pieces that are removed and what's kept. Okay, let's discard this. And let's come back in again, and I want to show you another feature, which is remove unused parameters. I've got to call myproc here, and I've got 4 parameters going into it, and it actually takes 5 parameters, but the last one is a default parameter. And it even uses the caller member name attribute. What this does, if you're not familiar with it, is this will set member name to initialize if I call it from initialize. Okay, so, but I've got these unused parameters here. So let's go in to CodeRush options. Now what I'm showing you is part of code cleanup. You could actually do this as well right in the command line at the problem area. But if you choose to turn these options on, you can come in and remove the unused parameters. So I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to clear the remove unused types. So we'll keep all the types, but we're going to remove unused parameters. All right, let's just double check. Come over here, nothing to commit. Excellent. And now we're going to come in here and we're going to clean up the project. By the way, all the other rules are also, every line of code that in the project is being evaluated against all those rules. So check out what it did here. It got rid of the 1, 2, 3, and 4 because they weren't being used, and got rid of them here in the declaration, but was smart enough to keep this other piece here, including the attribute on here. So really nice refactoring. Taking a look out here, we see that it's cleaned it up here, and it actually cleaned it up in another file called radio enum list. And when you look at this, when I tested this morning, I looked at this and I was like, uh-oh, we got a bug, but don't worry, we don't. I went and looked at the code radio enum list. It looks like it's a bug because it looks like it's an event handler, right? Guess what, kids? It's not an event handler out there. It's out here in view models, radio enum list. What line of code is about line 98? So let's go jump to that. And here it is here, and you can see it's dimmed out. If I use tab to next reference, it's not showing up anywhere else. In a second, Visual Studio will tell you. There it is right there, 0 references right there. And so there are no references to it. So because there were no references, it was the parameters weren't used. We just took them out like that. And so that is that feature if you choose to enable it. All right, unused types and parameters. A reminder again to please vote out there for the that extension height change piece out there. I want to talk about resources for CodeRush. The CodeRush setup wizard I added to this list here because I was thinking, oh yeah, you know what, this is actually a resource. If you come into the setup wizard from the CodeRush menu, by the way, let's talk about something else for a second here. Extensions. I'm in 2019. Normally you'd find CodeRush here in this version of it because Visual Studio team decided to take the CodeRush menu and move it down. I found another extension on the Visual Studio Marketplace that allows me to bypass this so I can get my CodeRush menu back up on top where it belongs. We might in the future do this ourselves. We're looking into that and also talking to the team, trying to do this in a way where we don't upset, where we upset the fewest amount of people as possible. But we want to get that CodeRush menu back out here. At any rate, we go into the hold on a second, hold on, I want to go back to my slides. All right, we go into the CodeRush menu and we bring up the setup wizard. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. And the setup wizard appears and it looks something like this. And it basically allows you to go through all the features, learn a little bit about these extra additional features and whether you want to turn them on or not. So if you've not done this, I recommend you go through the setup wizard. It's only about 8 pages long. It's got lots of pretty pictures in it. And you can choose which kind of features you turn on or off across the board, hit finish, and then it will apply those for you. That's one of the resources. The other resource that I've got out here is the CodeRush Feature of the Week video series. If you're not watching these, let me click this right here. I'm going to pop this out as well. In here, and that time I send it to the entire audience. And you can come out here and take a look at this. We've got about a year's worth of Feature of the Week videos out here, 51 of these. We're almost at our 1 year mark here. So very cool videos that are out here that'll take you through a lot of productivity features. If you're not familiar with these, if some of these sound new to you, like N for new instance or C for casting, you definitely want to take a look at that. C for casting, 5 minutes of your time. You will make up that 5 minutes within like a couple days probably of using the feature. And then for the rest of the year, it's all profit, and you'll use this feature. I promise you. That's an awesome feature to look at. And there are a bunch of them like that have similar kinds of returns on investments. Rickish is asking, hey, is the duplicate code feature, the duplicate code detection feature from CodeRush Classic going to be ported over anytime soon? The answer is yes, it's going to be ported over. Anytime soon is the question. We are in the process of implementing that inside of CodeRush for Roslyn. This is one of those features that I think missed a number of people, but the people who found it are like, where did it go? And so that's something that we are looking at moving towards, moving it not only in CodeRush, but also in CodeRush Server, at least the detection part of the feature, where it will detect duplicate code for you. The resolution part of it, I'm not so sure about if that's going to be ported over in the same time frame. I think there's a shot of it, like say by the end of the year, but that's all I'm saying right now. That's not a promise. It's not even my expectation. It's just that I think there might be a shot of it, of the consolidation part of this feature showing up by the end of the year, which also means I think it is likely that you'll see duplicate code detection fully functional by the end of the year in CodeRush for Roslyn. That's what I suspect. Repost the link to the VS Code issue. It only showed as very tiny text. I posted in the chat room, I think that was out there. Let me go get that, the VS Code issue right here. This one right here. This is the one I want changed. I'm going to pop this out into the chat room. You should all see this when I send it. That's the one. Please vote on that. Vote on that up there. And I'm going to do that. Okay. Let's see what else we've got over here. Live streaming on twitch.tv/CodeRushed. We've got a link in the chat room on that too as well if you scroll up in there. I'm doing that I wouldn't say every day, 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And you can follow/watch for a chance to win CodeRush. We've had a few episodes where I've just out of nowhere said, anybody wants a copy of CodeRush right now, just tell me in the chat room and you got it for free. So if you've got folks who you work with who want a copy of CodeRush, I'm not sure how the powers that be at DevExpress are feeling right now. I don't know if they're muting me or not because we're taking away money from the company. But by golly, we're going to do it, kids. So if you want a copy of CodeRush and you don't want to pay for it, come out there. And also come and watch us because the show's fun to watch and you might learn a thing or two about how to write code in CodeRush quickly. The CodeRush Shortcuts. Let me get you a link for that too. We'll get that out there. So we'll get the links for all these resources out there. There we go. That's the cheat sheet right there. And what else? I get the feature of the week out there. Yep, I got the feature of the week out there. And the only piece I didn't get is Twitch TV/CodeRush, but I think it's already in the chat channel, so you can go out there. Notice that that it ends in an ED. It's not just CodeRush, it ends in an ED. All right. Also, where can you get it if you don't have it already? Well, first of all, I want to point out, kids, we have broken over 100,000 individual unique installs. We've got over 500,000 downloads, but 100,000 unique installs as tracked by the Visual Studio Marketplace. We've got an average rating of 4.5, so either 4 stars or 5 stars are essentially what we're getting most of with 94 reviews that are out there. You can get it at the Visual Studio Marketplace. Let me click on that link. I'm going to put that in the chat room as well. Here it is right there. That's where you can get CodeRush. And here are the reviews. Kids, if you like CodeRush, write us a review. Hang out with these other cool people up here who are giving it 5-star reviews. Give us a review. Let your developer community know what you think about the product, right? What you think about it, what you like about it, those kinds of things. We're also watching those reviews as well. So if you've got a concern in there or anything along those lines, if you've got a feature request, we're going to see those and we may respond to you as well. So thanks so much for just the community that you guys are helping us build and continue to maintain. So we really appreciate that. You can also get it from the DevExpress Download Manager. So you can do that too. And let's do that. copy that to the clipboard, and I'm going to paste that into the chat room. So there's your link from the download manager if you want to get CodeRush, if you don't have it already. And I've asked here, please review CodeRush, and I'll get you that link right here. If you're so inspired, I'm going to put that one out there, ask for your help there. Please review CodeRush here. Because we love you guys, and we want you to love us too. And okay, so that's the end of part 1. And now I'm going to switch over to CodeRush Server, which I think you might like, even if you are not necessarily on Azure DevOps yet. I've got a couple questions here I'm seeing, though. I want to just address those before I move on. Mick George is saying, we have switched from ReSharper to CodeRush. We have settings in ReSharper using style copy. Is there any way to bring all those settings over to CodeRush easily? I think this is a question for support, Mick. I want to send it, what I want you to do is send that same question to support at DevExpress.com. And I'm just going to type that in and send that out there so you can see that. Please send them that, because I think there may be multiple parts to answering the question. It may be that it may not be as hard depending on the context that we need to get. Brian Moore says, "Wow, breathe." Mick George says, "Will do, thanks." Okay, great. I'm gonna breathe. I'll get to that. All right, let's get to part 2. Kids, I just like to, yeah, this is me. This is what I like to do here. Let's get the other. Let's get my other slide set up here for CodeRush Server. Here it is right here. Let's run that. Okay. So overview, it's an Azure DevOps extension. It's got seamless pipeline integration. So Azure DevOps allows you to set up your pipeline for how you're going to do your build. And we can, the CodeRush Server just slips right in there seamlessly. It supports C# and Visual Basic. And it includes features like test case run analysis, code coverage analysis, diagnostics, and code issues. I'll give you show you some screenshots here from the product. Here it is in the pipeline where we've just thrown in the CodeRush Analyze right here, and it's going to analyze the solution in the process of the build, and it can monitor your code health. Again, these are a little bit what the UI looks like here. And it can give you this summary analysis of a comparison between 2 different builds. So we're looking at a comparison here, and we can see, well, here's what the current total is. Here's what our change is. So we used to have a number much bigger that were ignored, the tests that were ignored here. This is our health indicator. Are we going up or down, right? And so in the original screenshot in the back here, you can see in the comparison we're actually going down here for the number of passed. We've dropped a number of past test cases when we compare these 2 versions. It looks like a bunch of tests were deleted is what it looks like. So so that's what it gives you there, just some more screenshots from the product here as it looks out there on Azure DevOps. Let's go out there right now. I'm going to load up a project that we've got out here on Azure DevOps. And here, I'll show you the pipeline first right here. We'll take a look at the pipeline. We're going to go in here to edit. And there it is right there. There's CodeRush. By the way, if you guys could click this button if you're going to use this, help DevExpress improve this product by sharing usage data anonymously. That will help us, help our team make the product better for everybody else. So if you can do that, that's great. Here's your main page right here, the CodeRush main page right here. Whoops, let's stay here for a second. I'm looking for my apply button, but I'm not seeing my apply button here. Save and queue, that's what I want right there. We'll do save. Helping DX, like that. All right, and then let's go down over here. And so this is what the main look and feel of this is like. I've got my code coverage here. So let's go to my first one here. I've got a number of builds here that I've done. Each build is tracked up here, and I can go in and select the build. I can see that 2 builds were done on Tuesday, the May 14th. If there were other builds done, I could select them as well and use those to create a comparison so I can get a sense of, is my health trending up or down? How is my health compared to a previous build? So I can do those kinds of comparisons and checks inside of here. But if I go to this earlier one, I can see that I had 14 diagnostics issues total. One issue that was up here that was hidden, one error, and 12 kind of info diagnostic pieces. With regards to my test cases, I had 13 passing and I had 6 failed for a total of 19. And I had some code coverage issues right here, 73%. Now, if we go to, I think we go back up here to Pipeline. I think we saw it on Pipeline. Let's go back over here. We can see what's going on here. We see we've got a change here between first and second. We had a check-in that said settings. Hold on, actually, I don't want to be there. Let's come back over here to this page and get it, because we'll go to history. We want to go here to this one right here. So here's settings. This was the ID of the check-in right here. So we'll go to there in the commit. In this commit, only one thing was different, and it's a file called catalog.xml, catalog.xml. And if we look at the folder, it's in .cr, that's our settings folder, team editor code analysis. And some settings have changed here. In fact, what you can see is the severity here is being changed, is what is appearing to be changing here. So we're changing some things to whether we're looking for them anymore, so we're no longer enabling these issues, right? And we're no longer looking for those code issues. So that's what this is. This is coming from DevExpress, refactoring code issue catalog options. And so if we go into CodeRush, what's cool about this is we go into CodeRush right here, and we go into, I think I can search for catalog, and code issues catalog right here. These are, and I'll just maximize this so we can see everything here. These are all the code issues that we're checking for right here, and including the severity of each particular issue. So we can come in and say, well, I want this to be a warning or an error or something along those lines. I can disable it by clearing the checkbox right here, for example. So I can do these, make these kinds of changes. And then when I save these, if I save them to the solution team options, that will be part of the solution. That will be saved out in this location. And that means that CodeRush server will now pick up those options and those settings as well. So when now we look at the comparison of the two different builds, one done at 8:26 in the morning and the other done at 8:01, about 25 minutes sooner, right there, right? If we look at those two comparisons, we can see what's going on here, right here. With regards to our diagnostics, we've dropped 3 issues right here. We've dropped 4 issues over here in the infos and the errors. So all of that is kind of cool. I haven't really shown you drilling into this yet, but you can drill in from any one of these. For example, we can go into test coverage right here. Just click on that, see what's covered. And we can see that overall, we've got a comparison, a coverage of about 73%. And we can open that up and we can scroll down. We can click on any one of these. And when we click on that function or that particular bit of code, let me get to an actual function right here. Here's a getter for a, well, that's pretty small too. Let's get some, there's a setter. We got a setter in there, all small stuff. Let's get something bigger here. Let's see what we got. I'm just fishing. There we go. All right, so cool. Here's something at 83.33% right here. Every line that's green over here in the code preview, every line over here that's green, let me just zoom this in right here so you can see it. This has been run. That line's been run. That line's been run. That line's been run. That line and that line. This line right here has not been run yet. And so it's in red. Shows a different background color right there. And that's why our code coverage there isn't at 100%. So if I want to get 100% code coverage for this, I need to create a unit test that comes out and calls line number and passes in element as null. Or actually, well, it's this right here. So I see I won't be able to call it off of this. I'll have to actually pass it in to get coverage there. So, so that's how we can get coverage on there. And that's, again, kind of cool, right? I can drill into every single piece, take a look at what the coverage is, and I see what lines are covered, what lines I need to add test cases for, if my goal is 100% code coverage. David, I'm going to go back to your question about code expansion templates that are available. I'm going to get back to that after I finish this up, and I'm almost done with this. Will CodeRush Server be a standalone product or integrated in an existing product license? Right now, it is a standalone product. You can get CodeRush Server from this URL right now. And guess what, kids? Look at this price on this. This is like an amazing price right here. This is like one of my favorite prices. Get it for free. So you can get this, download it right now, and use this. It may not always be free, but I'm telling you it's free now. And if it is something that we end up charging for, it'll be priced competitively compared to everybody else that's doing this, which means like, maybe less than $15 a month per user or something along those lines. So that's kind of what we're looking at for CodeRush Server. That's if we change, if the price comes out, if we change it from free. But for right now, it's absolutely free. We want you to try it. We want to get your feedback on it. We want to know what you need to make it work better for you. That's what we're looking for there. So this is just telling you a little bit about the CodeRush Server. So with that, let's see what we got here. There is the link to it. Let me put that out in the chat room. I think I did not. Let's make sure I got that on the clipboard, and we'll put that out in chat. Nope, I did. I got it out there. It's on the chat right now. So I already did that. Good. And what else do we need to see here? Review CodeRush Server. Because guess what, kids? We've got 0 reviews. Nobody's reviewed it yet. So if you like that, you can be the first and set the trend for everybody else. It'll be an anchor bias that you'll be able to set up. So again, I want to say thank you to everybody out here. I'm going to go back and answer David Grove's question about discovering code expansion templates that are available. Okay, so a couple things. One, the feature of the week videos. We've got the link, that playlist that's up there. Any template that has a letter like T followed by the word for. In fact, I bet I could just search. Could I search for for on here? No, that's not going to be helpful at all. I wanted to just search in this list, I guess is what I wanted to do. But anything that has the word for in it like that, so I guess I'm going to have to do this, space, for, space, like that. So T for test, E for enum, M for methods, P for properties. All of these are killer videos that are worth your time if you want to explore these. That's answer one. Answer two is the CodeRush for Roslyn shortcut cheat sheet. Whoops, I don't want that. I want to click on this link right here. And the templates start right down here, CodeRush templates at the bottom right here. Let me zoom in on this so we can see this. So creating types, flow, if else, try. And then we get to this page, which is just super powerful. And basically says, look, if you want to create anything, if it's a member or a variable, right, which is most of what we do as programmers, start it with a letter that represents what you want to create, like the letter V, for example, or the letter M, or the letter P, right, depending on what you want to create. Then follow it with a shortcut for the type. And we give you all of these shortcuts here, right? And so you can see all of these here for the pieces that are common. You can also create your own. But you want to, I want to go back to that, that YouTube piece. Look at those right there. Also, one other piece that's super powerful on this page is using, type in templates. Let's see if we can find that. Template name variables, that's the one right there. Also generic templates. You want to look at generic templates, template name variables. Also, if you show up on twitch.tv/CodeRush, I have more time there and ask the same question. I will give you a personal guided tutorial right there in the moment to show you all of those. So kind of cool, right, to get that, to be able to jump in there and ask a question about CodeRush, which you can do. Is there anything planned for VS for Mac? Mick, unfortunately, no, nothing is planned at this time. We are kind of watching that space. Our next jump is more likely to be in VS towards VS Code, strictly because of usage numbers. That's what we're trying to do. Mark Hazelton says, looks good, but shows how bad my code coverage is. You know what, Mark, though, I think just if code coverage 100% is, your goal, great, but it doesn't have to be, right? Your goal could be, hey, the important parts of my code should have code coverage, right? Also, if you're about to refactor in a section or maybe make something more, flexible, make code more flexible, you're about to change code, it would be a really good idea to check to see what your coverage is before you go in and modify, especially if you're working with legacy code and you don't know, right? So getting a sense of code coverage and applying yourself to cover the parts of code that are most important. I think is actually one of the smarter developer decisions that you can make. Instead of just splat out saying, code coverage 100%, or my UI is going to be 100% perfect all the way across, you look at the things that are most used, whether it's the code or the UI, and then that's how you apply the developer resources, right? And even if you do that, it still is I think, a good tool. It can help you out. What else do we got here that's not answered? Free forever? I missed information. Sorry. Yeah, no, there's no promise that it's going to be free forever, Rocco. Right now, CodeRush server is free. No promise on how long that will remain free. But give it a try. Take a look at it. Download it. And let us know. I've already gotten, out of nowhere, somebody came up to me at Build Conference and said, CodeRush server looks pretty cool. And I was like, okay, cool. So even though we've had a private beta, I was impressed that with the feedback that I got. So it feels like we are maybe fitting a need out there. We're addressing a need. Any other questions, folks? Anything I missed? Let's see if I scroll down and got all the questions here. I think I may have it. I think, Amanda, we may be able to get out of here a little bit on early, 8 minutes early, unless anybody else has got questions.
You did you answer about the features being available in CodeRush for Roslyn? I didn't type that.
Yeah. Will these features be available in CodeRush for Roslyn? Wait a second. I didn't answer that. But is that a continuation of a previous question Uday answered, or no? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the context of that question is, Uday. Will these features be available in CodeRush for Roslyn? I think I'm in CodeRush for Roslyn. Everything I've shown you, with the exception of our DevOps dashboard over here for CodeRush server, everything with the exception of this browser page is inside of CodeRush for Roslyn. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I think there's one other that I needed to do follow-up. I didn't know. Does string format assistant also help with padding left to right as well? Yeah. Send me an email on that, Stephen Flanders, and I will find out and follow up with you. And tell you what, if it does not work, I think I can make a pretty good, strong case for making that, bubbling that up to the top of our list and getting that out for you if that's something you need help with. I do recall once in my past trying to figure out padding, and it was a mess. So, okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, are we good?
Mark.
Is everybody happy over there at DevExpress, or are they all mad at me because I just said free the whole time?
Ray's knocking on my door.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, everybody. Like I mentioned before, today's webinar will be made available later on our DevExpress YouTube channel. I just posted that link in the chat box. And while you're on our YouTube channel, please subscribe and also ring that little notification bell so that you get alerted whenever we release new content. You will also get a follow-up email with a link to this webinar recording. Please note that you have to, in your account, you have to mark that you would like to receive notifications from DevExpress for webinars so that you get our emails about webinars and you get our emails when we have recordings of webinars. And that is it for this one. Thank you so much to Mark. Thank you all for joining us. And of course, thank you for choosing DevExpress. Bye-bye.